Hi, my name is John Erickson. I'm the Communities Manager for the OpenSSL Foundation. And this is a slightly different video than the ones I've been doing lately because I want to talk to you about this. It is a hot off the presses, brand new board game designed by an Estonian cybersecurity company called Cybernetica. And kind of the story behind it and how it came to be from our perspective is when I first joined OpenSSL Foundation, uh, Amy Parker and I, Amy was the deputy executive director at the time, we connected because we're both board game players. And she got excited about finding board games that have something to do with cryptography or cybersecurity. And she found some, and a lot of them are little puzzle games that are a lot of fun and sort of get at the idea, but but she was looking for something a little bit more. And so she found a paper from Cybernetica that gave design ideas for how you could build such a game and a little prototype. And she reached out to the authors of the paper. Two of them are designers, Lisa and Nikita, and then Peter, who's also a researcher over there. And she talked to them about the game and trying to find out if they had any plans to publish it so that we could get our hands on a copy. And along the way, she mentioned that maybe they would like to come to the OpenSSL conference, which was happening last October, very first OpenSSL conference ever. And they did. They came and they brought a prototype of the game. This is actually a completed copy. Their prototype was in like a plastic bag. And they had some copies to lay out, and a bunch of people played the game, and it's a lot of fun. It's not a super technical, like you have to figure out how cryptography works. It's more about a challenge that we are facing as an industry, which is quantum computers. So this is an illustration of a quantum computer. There are all sorts of organizations who are building these things, and the reason they're building it is because theoretically, if one of these things is made, it could break our existing cryptography algorithms. There are prototypes of quantum computers out there, but they haven't been proven useful to break current cryptography. But that's coming, or it may very likely be coming soon. And so the struggle is to find new algorithms that the quantum computers can't break. And that's called post-quantum cryptography. And this is a game about the trail or the process of creating a post-quantum algorithm that everyone can use to protect the internet in the future, even after quantum computers come to exist. All right, so this is Post-Quantum Trails. It's in shrink wrap still, so there might be some glare, but we'll take that off in a second. I mentioned it was designed by Cybernetica, from the creators of secure digital societies around the world. They are in Estonia, and like I said, they're doing a lot of great work. And then we're on the other side of the box. This is the OpenSSL Foundation, building a safer internet and serving the public interest with the OpenSSL library. It's the back of the box. They received some funding from the European Union and an organization called Chess. Chess, as far as I know, doesn't have anything to do with board games particularly, but the sort of people who like board games, I think, are attracted to cybersecurity. All right, so I've removed the shrink wrap and loosened the box. It's actually kind of hard to get the lid off. And here's what you get inside. So obviously you got a rule book explaining the overview and the goal. Your goal is to create a post-quantum cryptographic algorithm before quantum computers are functional and can start breaking the cryptography that we already have. Nicely illustrated book, details about how to play the game, examples, all sorts of things in there, card descriptions, frequently asked questions, list of icons. I have to say the book is a little bit hard to read for me because the lettering is a little on the small side, but there's just packed with information. One of the things that includes is information about the cards. It isn't just how they work, but also some background about what the cards mean and why they're there, which is helpful for people who are using it as a tool to learn about post-quantum cryptography and just the process of building a cryptographic algorithm. Some information about the publishers, Cybernetica, of course, and OpenSSL Foundation. It says 2 to 4 players, which is, that's how many components they have for it, and 30 to 90 minutes. I think 30 is maybe on the, you would have to be knowing the rules really well and playing it several times. 90 is probably at the very extreme. I played it in Prague with a prototype and the designers, and it was about 60 minutes. It's actually a fairly relaxed game. All right, so what else do we have? So this is the migration board, which is the key. I'm going to push this aside. This is the key thing that you're working with. This is the side that matters. So you're going to have little icon or little tokens that represent your cryptography algorithm. And in order to make progress on this board, you're going to have to accomplish things like this is publishing a paper, I believe. And this is hiring enough people, enough researchers. Each person will also have their own player board. They have 4 different types of algorithms. So lattice-based, multivariate cryptography, hash-based cryptography, isogeny-based cryptography, and there's a little information on it explaining what these are. Functionally, they don't really matter that much. It's mostly about the color you get to move with the matching color token, but it is kind of fun to read about it and to get to know a little bit more about these things. And so this is what the player, the functional part of the player board is. Place for your team members, for your publications, a recap of what you do each turn, and a spot for your resources. These are the resources. They are, influence is the heart, science is the little star, and then money is the yellow thing. There are dice. Meanwhile, across the bottom is the quantum computing timeline, and as these move across, you're getting closer to reaching Q day, the day when quantum computers will be able to unencrypt everything that we currently have in secure, and obviously that's not a good thing. So everyone's trying to avoid that. There are dice which are wooden dice with sort of gold pips, which are neat. So every now and then there's an event or something happens that requires you to roll the dice. These are the event cards. So this is the one thing where it matters which algorithm you're working on. These only affect one person in the game, the person who's picked this particular algorithm, and it removes 2 science from them. So these are almost all bad for you, the person who drew the card, and you have to draw one each turn. The quantum supremacy is the one that's really bad for everybody because it advances the quantum timeline. Well, actually, they have different names for what they are. So there's circuit optimization, so different things that the quantum computers can do to advance. So these are all pretty bad. You lose something, or it costs you something, or this one you have to roll the dice and you get an outcome that's normally bad, but there is one good you might be able to draw. Oh, actually, that is an event card. I think you draw another event card. So that's not good. So along the way, these are the things that you face that make your job a little harder. All right, so what can you do about it? Well, this deck is the deck of the actions that you can take, and so you'll get dealt a certain number of cards. I think it's 5, and then you can decide which of these to use as an action. And And so, you know, things like going to a conference, which is handy. It costs you money, but you do gain some science and some influence. Posting on social media, you get a lot of influence. And so these things are useful. You can spend these things partially to advance on this track, but also for some other things along the way. Oh, I want to find my favorite card, which is the promotional materials that includes the Post-Quantum Trails game inside of it. And so you roll 2 dice and then you gain some influence based on that. So this is what I like about this is it's not a guaranteed success. I mean, you're going to get some success, but it could be very successful or it could be a little bit of a dud, depending on how well it goes. And I'm certainly hoping that this is a very successful promotional material. All right, so those are the actions that you can take, the action cards. They're dealt randomly. You can hire people, and that's essentially what you hire researchers to give you the security proof, for instance. So there's a senior researcher and a regular researcher, and marketing specialist who does, gives you a different thing, and junior researcher, and there are plenty of these cards available. They're just put out in a display, and you can pick from them. One of the things I like about them is that they're double-sided, and so you have a senior researcher who is male and a female senior researcher, and that's true for all of these. So it's a little nod toward what we'd like, which is more diversity within the industry. Both the game publishing industry, it's a little unusual to have women designers, and this game does have 2 women who designed the game, but also the cryptographic industry is very, very heavily male dominated, and and so we just want to create some space for people who are not the traditional male cryptographer and researcher and all that. And then these are the publications. So you can, there's a workshop publication and conference publication, and so conference. So you can purchase these along the way, and they will give you advantages. This one gives you science each turn, which is really handy. So this is the thing. This is what you get immediately, but you also get science each turn for that particular one. And you're going to need lots of publications by the time you get to, say, the hybrid mode, if you want to take that. Notice that 2 of them are optional, and you can actually skip those. You may get away with it, but there are event cards that could punish you if you have not, if you've skipped that step. At the end of the game, if you get to the end and you beat the quantum timeline, you're well on your way to winning. There's actually a bunch of points scored, so you add up your points from the research papers, for instance, and points from purchasing. You're not purchasing, but hiring your staff, and then you get points depending on where you are along the timeline at the end. So the person who made it to the end is most likely going to win, but not necessarily, because it could be that someone else has dedicated enough time to publishing papers and that sort of thing, and they actually get more points in the end. So it's an interesting game. It's a race against the quantum timeline, against the evil people who are creating quantum computers. They're not actually evil, but in the context of this game, they're pushing us towards a bad situation if we do not have post-quantum cryptography ready. So there you go. So there you have it. This is Post-Quantum Trails, a new game published by Cybernetica, who also designed it. Employees of Cybernetica designed it, and co-published by the OpenSSL Foundation. If you want to get a copy, the best way to do it is to register for the OpenSSL conference, which is coming in October in Prague. And if you come, you will get a copy of the game included with your registration. There are several ways you can get there. There are several ways you can register. One is if you want to get the early bird rate, do that by July 15th. If you want to speak, you can get a discount on your rate, and that's also July 15th. So there's not a lot of time for coming up with some ideas, but if you do have some ideas of what you can talk about, I highly encourage you to do that. Finally, OpenSSL Foundation has a scholarship program. If you don't have someone who's going to pay for it for you, and you don't have the money yourself to justify coming to OpenSSL conference, apply to the OpenSSL Foundation scholarship program. Deadline is also July 15th, and one of those ways you will be able to come to the conference, I hope, if you're interested in OpenSSL, and you can get a copy of the game. The designers of the game are also going to be there to teach us how to play it, and that's going to be exciting. And I'll be there, so I'm excited to talk to you as well. So hope to see you in Prague this October.